Look, if you've ever felt totally frustrated because you just couldn't seem to make English stick, I've got some incredible news for you today. We're tearing down literally everything you thought you knew about language learning. We're going to build a completely foolproof, science-backed blueprint to mastering English. But right out of the gate, we have to face a really hard truth. The traditional methods you've been taught, they are fundamentally broken. Let's get right into it. So why exactly do traditional, once-a-week English classes just completely fail most people? I mean, we've all seen those viral ads online, right? Become fluent in 30 days or master English with this one weird trick. Let me be brutally honest with you. Those promises are a total waste of your time. Sitting in a stiff classroom, studying for maybe an hour a week, it just doesn't align with how the human brain actually acquires language. Honestly, it's no wonder so many of us get discouraged. Language expert Mr. Salas really hit the nail on the head here. He points out a hard truth about true polyglots, people who master multiple languages effortlessly. He says they simply do not go to classes. He actually calls it a waste of time and money. I want you to really think about that for a second. The issue has never, ever been your intelligence. The biggest problem is just the wildly outdated method you've been sold all these years. 95%. That is a staggering number. 95% of students trying to learn online or through traditional methods end up failing. But why? Well, it's because they rely entirely on sheer motivation. You absolutely know the feeling. You download a shiny new language app, you get super pumped for a week, and then you get that universal guilt trip when you start swiping away those daily notifications. Motivation is a terrible, terrible fuel source for long-term learning. What we actually need is a fundamental psychological shift. Which brings us to Section 1, Systems over Goals, the Paradise Shift. Taking a cue from productivity experts like Milagros Alvarez, we first have to realize that motivation is, it's completely fleeting. You might feel incredibly fired up on January 1st, but by mid-February, that fire is totally gone. Setting a vague goal like, I want to be fluent in English, sounds amazing, but it relies on willpower. And the second you miss a day, guilt creeps in and bam, burnout. A system, on the other hand, is like a daily machine. It's concrete. I will do 20 minutes of flashcards and 1 hour of Netflix immersion daily. That's a system. It makes the decision automatic, eliminating decision fatigue so you don't burn out. Your system just tells you what to do day in and day out. This brings us to what I think is a totally foundational quote from James Clear's Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Creating a reliable system means designing a routine where you improve just 1% every single day. And here's the kicker, a good system always includes a backup plan for those inevitably bad days. Even on your absolutely busiest day, having a quick 5-minute backup plan keeps the gears turning. You never abandon the language entirely. It's brilliant. All right, Section 2, the 250-hour system. This is your exact blueprint for success. Okay, now that our mindset is locked in, let's look at the actual practical blueprint. We really need to stop measuring our progress in arbitrary months and start measuring it in dedicated hours. 250. That right there is your magic number. To see massive, tangible progress in your comprehension, you need to rack up 250 hours of systematic study. To put that into perspective, if you break that down over 6 months, you're looking at roughly 1.5 to 2 hours of systematic daily practice. Sure, it's not a quick fix, but it is a guaranteed mechanical outcome. You put the time in, you get the results out. So let's break down the daily gears of this 250-hour machine using Mr. Salas's super effective 3-part framework. Step 1, use a spaced repetition app, something like Anki, for a maximum of 20 minutes a day to literally plant new vocabulary into your brain. Step 2, spend about 35 minutes reading out loud while listening to native audio. This trains your brain to match the sounds with the text. And step 3, which is absolutely the most crucial part, total immersion. The time limit for this, unlimited. The more you immerse yourself, the faster you're going to grow. Now, let's talk about the actual science of picking your immersion content, like, what Netflix shows you're binging. You really want to hit what we call the immersion sweet spot. You're aiming for content where you organically understand about 60 to 70% of what's happening just through context, visuals, and the words you already know. Think of it like a Goldilocks zone. If you understand 90%, well, it's way too easy and you aren't learning anything new. But if you only get like 20%, it's just frustrating noise and you're going to want to shut it off. Aim for that 65% comprehensible sweet spot. Moving on to Section 3, Supercharging with AI, the ultimate accelerator. Let's look at a really fascinating development for 2026. If the 250-hour system is your vehicle,
artificial intelligence is your high-octane rocket fuel. AI has officially moved way past the hype phase and into pure pragmatism. We're now seeing generative AI acting as a hyper-personalized 24/7 teaching assistant. You can use translanguaging, which basically means allowing the AI to use your native language to strategically scaffold really complex ideas. Plus, mobile-first microlearning means you can squeeze in a fully customized 5-minute vocabulary session right on your morning commute. It's all about using tech to make your daily system completely flawless.
But you might be wondering, what exactly is the role of AI compared to an actual human teacher? Well, AI tools like ChatGPT or TalkPal are basically your ideal practice partners for low anxiety reps and quick pattern recognition. They literally eliminate that fear of embarrassment when you mess up a word. However, human teachers, they remain absolutely essential. They bring the deep cultural nuance, the emotional intelligence, and that genuine relationship building that an algorithm just cannot replicate. So think of it this way. AI provides the sheer volume of practice, while humans provide the actual soul of communication.
And the data totally backs up this cooperative approach. A 2024 British Council survey of global educators showed that 75% of language teachers are currently using AI tools to help generate materials and assist their students. Yet the majority firmly believe AI cannot and will not substitute that unique human touch. It's a true partnership, not a replacement. Educators clearly recognize that AI is an amazing tool to enhance human connection rather than replace it. Which leads us nicely to Section 4, the science of immersion and autonomy. So why does this whole AI-assisted system actually work on a neurological level? It all boils down to behavioral science. According to research highlighted by scientific communicators, total immersion demands action. First, you have to find your massive motivator, a real-world burning necessity to use the language. Then you literally have to change your environment. I'm talking changing your phone, your computer, your streaming algorithms. Flip it all entirely to English. You have to accept that the initial learning curve is going to be painful, but you let that environment force you to adapt. You suffer the curve and you learn. And what's incredibly validating about all of this is that the academic literature heavily supports it. As you can see in publications like the Journal for the Psychology of Language Learning, self-access language learning outside a traditional classroom is massively effective, provided you build the right environment and set up the proper support structures. This isn't just some passing internet trend. This is proven science, guys.
This all ties perfectly back to self-determination theory, or SDT. In simple terms, this psychological framework proves that we learn best when we are firmly in the driver's seat. We need autonomy, we need competence, and we need connection to truly thrive. This 250-hour system works precisely because you are the architect. You choose the Netflix shows that actually interest you, you pick the AI conversation topics that matter for your specific career, and you build a learning system that fits effortlessly into your actual everyday life. So we've arrived at the ultimate question. You now have the science, the framework, and the tools. So, are you just going to set another vague goal to learn English this year, cross your fingers, and hope motivation magically carries you through? Or are you going to take control, embrace the science of autonomy, and build your 250-hour system today? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see the systems you build.